So today up for review we have the new Masters of the Universe Turtles of Grayskull Hordak, Ruthless Master of the Ooze Pit. He turned out really good in my opinion. There's a close-up of his head. We will be running down the articulation on this figure. It is worth mentioning this canister of TCRI mutagen does not come with Hordak, it comes with a Skeletor. But Hordak's the master of the ooze pit, so I believe that he should have the ooze. I've got a DC Multiverse flight stand, which they are really good flight stands. They come with a lot of the Superman action figures. I'm a big Superman collector, which, spoiler alert, my next video will actually be on this Superman. I'm going to take this Hordak down from the flight stand and go over the articulation. Now, as you can see, I have Hordak off the flight stand, and here's the articulation. So the head is separate from the collar piece, and it can look left and right. It can look up, not that much, down, not really. But he can look left and right really well, so that's about all you need, in all honesty. The arm goes up and down on this side. You do have this removable piece. It can bend at the elbow. It has this ooze canister, which does not move, this ooze cannon. You have this little plug-in piece, which this peg is the same size as all the Roboto and Trapjaw accessories, so you can interchange those if you would like to. The Metal Botto accessories work just as well. The other arm goes forwards, backwards, bend at the elbow, spin at the wrist, hinge at the wrist. Legs can go forwards, backwards, I hate when the knees do that. I'll show the bend at the knee on this side. Swivel at the boot. Hinge at the foot. And not much rocker. Well, maybe a little bit. They do have the nice Horde symbols sculpted on these boots. These are not painted, which is kind of disappointing. I feel like a little bit of black down here would have tied in everything up top a little bit better. But that's just my personal opinion, and the Horde batch should have been red. But besides that, pretty cool. These can articulate upwards, the wings. They have an articulation point here. They can fold all the way down if you would like. So here's a look at that from the front. Kind of gives off that Hordak cape look now. But yeah, they are really cool, and they're removable. So if you don't want these, you can remove them, and it's just got the same peg system as all the other Turtles of Grayskull figures. So if you wanted to give them a turtle shell or something like that, you could. Or you could interchange the April O'Neil wings, give him bird wings. Or you could take the Casey Jones hockey bag, which also plugs into the same peg system. But I'm going to remove this TCRI ooze. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I just showed you how to remove the wings. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove the head. You just pop that off the ball joint. And then this collar is removable. And it is a separate piece. Got some nice sculpted detail. Even on the inside, it's got like these ridges. I don't know if you can see that. Just got these ridges. Backside sculpted very well. It is worth mentioning this is the exact same collar that comes with the Princess of Power Masterverse Hordak, but it does not have the little connectors on the bottom to connect directly to the armor and the cape. And the head is basically the same as the Masterverse Hordak head. It's just got a slightly different facial expression. but practically looks like the same head sculpt. I almost wonder if they plan to pack this head out with that figure as well and decided to cut it because of all the other accessories for like a price thing or something. Here's how the armor removes. It's just a little clip-on of a harder plastic, which it does get looser the more you do that, so I would be careful with that. The Horde armband just slides down the arm like that and is removable. There's the Horde symbol, just like all the other Horde armbands that are in the line. Now to remove the belt, you just snap the figure apart at the waist, and then here's the belt. It also has a little Hordak face or Horde Prime face sculpted there. And then when you put the figure back together, this is basically all you have without the armor, which still looks pretty cool. Now the head can look up and down a lot better. It is worth mentioning that this armband piece is separate. It's not part of the sculpt, but it connects to this cannon, which is part of the sculpt. Well, it's actually not. I believe it's pinned and glued, but it is not removable. Like, see, if I go to turn it, it looks like it'll come off, but I think it'll break, so I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to put the armor back on, and then we're going to do some comparisons with other Hordaks in the line, and a size comparison with vintage Horde member, as well as a Masterverse and a Funko Pop. See you there. Here I have the Turtles of Grayskull Hordak alongside two of my custom Hordaks. Here he is alongside my custom regular Hordak, which uses Beastman feet, which I've painted up to match the boots. And then I have this custom cannon, which is removable. He has a full sculpted arm underneath. And then I have this little gun in his hand. And I have the belt from the Tuvar action figure from the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. He turned out pretty cool. But it's basically the same as the retail release, besides the boots, this trigger finger, and the belt, and my custom cannon that comes from a cyborg figure. Then here's my first custom Hordak. This is the Buzzsaw Hordak. And then I just took the Master of the WWE Kane figure and attached his arms and legs and left the Hordak loincloth, because I really like the cybernetics on this, and I feel like Hordak's supposed to have a lot of cybernetics, and black and red looks really cool on Hordak in my opinion. And that gave him the ability to have a cannon arm, which neither of the retail releases had. It is worth mentioning that I do not have the Cartoon Collection Hordak or the PowerCon exclusive Hordak to show the different skin tones between the blues on these Hordaks, but this Turtles of Grayskull Hordak does have a different skin tone than both of the other blue Hordaks in the Origins line, so it will not match skin tone wise. Now I'm going to move this Hordak off to the side, and here's how he scales alongside the Masters of the Universe CGI line Hordak, which also has these bat wings, which is removable with a peg system. Which it is worth mentioning. It is worth mentioning that the peg system on the CGI Mosquitra figure is the exact same peg system as the Turtles of Grayskull figures, so the wings do interchange between those two figures. But there's that scale comparison. Now I'm going to move this Hordak off to the side, move this one up to the background, which I just now noticed, actually, that this Hordak has some damage to his face, almost as if he's been dropped on cement. That is disappointing. I don't know how that happened. Now let's bring in a Masterverse. Give me just 1 second. Here is how the Turtles of Grayskull Hordak scales alongside a Masterverse figure. This is Leech from the Masterverse Princess of Power line. It is worth mentioning Leech is the shortest member of the Horde that they have released so far, with Grizzlord being the largest and Hordak being the average size. Leech does have the drop joints, so I can make him a tiny bit taller, which puts him a little bit more into that Masterverse scale. As you can see now, he's a little bit taller. But this figure still scales well with Origins, because I believe that Leech should be a larger beast, because in the vintage line he always felt larger. I actually have 2 vintage Leech action figures, one of which I've used for custom parts, and the other one is for my personal collection. Now here's how Hordak scales alongside a Funko Pop Horde member, in this case Leech again. Wow, my action figures are dusty. If you guys have any tips for dusting your action figures without ruining the paint with chemicals or anything, just leave a comment down below to let me know. Here's how he scales alongside a Funko Pop. Just something fun to throw in there. A friend of mine got me this Funko Pop from a Comic-Con. Really cool. Has a lot of the details of the vintage action figure. But there's how they scale. Now, I'm going to bring in a vintage Grizzlord for scale comparison. So here's how the Turtles of Grayskull Hordak measures up alongside a vintage Horde figure. And they are both right at that 5.5 scale, so they seem to work very well together. So, all in all, that is my overall review of the new Master Universe Turtles of Grayskull Hordak. So that is my review of the Hordak. I'll be reviewing this Superman and Crypto 2-pack next. As always, like, subscribe. Peace and love. Enjoy during this Christmas season. See you on the flip side.